Okay, I don't know really how to start this. Okay, so my name is Emily. I'm 17 in Toronto. I've been living with chronic illness for the past 5 years-ish, I think. I was diagnosed when I was 12. I have 2 different types of chronic illness. I've been diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome and Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome type 3. Basically what that means is I'm tired all the time, basically. I have no energy, and my joints dislocate themselves, which is not fun, but a really cool party trick. And I wanted to get on here and kind of talk about something that I know a lot of other people my age who have some kind of invisible disability have gone through, and that's public transit. So one of the big issues that I've had is because I have an invisible disability, it doesn't look like I'm sick. Now, if I was to stand on, say, a bus for a long time, my knees would give out. Or even if I've only been standing for a little bit and we hit a pothole, I will fall. And that's not a lot of fun because it's very scary and it's very painful. But unfortunately, because I don't need to walk with a cane or a walker, or I'm not in my wheelchair full time, I am not seen as having an issue. But on most days, I will sit in the disability seating. In Toronto, we have buses that have, I think it's 9 seats or something like that, in the very front of the bus that are reserved for the elderly and people with disabilities. So that includes people who have a temporary injury, so you have a cast on your leg or on your arm or something like that. It's reserved for pregnant women. It's reserved for the elderly, so that way they don't need to stand the entire trip. And it's reserved for people who, the seats flip up, so wheelchairs can sit there. But unfortunately, because invisible disabilities are non-visible, people who know that they have limitations and know that they can't put up with standing on the bus the entire time will sit there and will get harassed for it. And if you are a teenager like me, you look healthy and you look young and you look fresh, unfortunately a lot of people will attack you for that. And the biggest problem that I've had was the whole idea of I look fine. And unfortunately a lot of people tell you, oh, explain it to people, try and teach people. But as soon as someone starts harassing you on public transit of any kind for sitting where you're sitting, they've already made up their mind. You can't say anything because it's not going to change their mind. A little while ago, I was taking my boyfriend, right now, our cat to get spayed at the Humane Society in Toronto. And I was sitting in the disability seating where I usually sit because I know my limitations. And this woman who clearly, very clearly, is not elderly and is not in any way, shape, or form having any kind of issues, is standing there doing nothing, and a few stops before she's about to get off the bus, starts talking with the bus driver. The things that she's saying are, oh, kids these days have no manners. I would never have raised my children like this. I never was raised like this. I always raised my children with manners. And the bus driver started agreeing with her. And it was obvious that they were talking about me because I was the only person who was in any way, shape, or form below like 25 in that seating area. And both the driver and this woman were shit-talking me right in front of me. And I am not one to stand up for myself. I suck at that. I don't open my mouth, I just stay quiet and don't say anything. But for a long time, people have been like, you need to say shit. Because as soon as you don't stand up for yourself, you're fucked. Because you have no voice and you've given up. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, I actually do have a disability and I need to sit here. She looked me right in the eyes and said, I don't care. That makes no difference. What the fuck is the point of these seats if it doesn't make a difference that you have a disability? Tea break. Like, I don't understand the logic of that. I am explaining to you, I am trying to tell you, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. I actually have something, and I have been raised to give up my seat, even on really bad pain days. If there is someone who very clearly needs the seat, I will give it up. I will sacrifice my own safety to make sure that other person is okay, because I am a very empathetic person at heart. But this woman decided that she was right before I even opened my mouth. And then as soon as I did, it didn't matter what I had to say. And that is a very upsetting thing, because I was prematurely and kind of preemptively diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome at 12. It was one of those things where it's like, we don't really know, but we're pretty sure it's this. And actually it might have been 13. Anyway, but I was preemptively diagnosed, and then a few years later it was a confirmed diagnosis, so I had Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. And for a very long time, I was not able to accept that. I couldn't accept that I would never get better, and I couldn't accept the fact that other people couldn't see it. Having chronic pain and, having chronic pain of any kind, or any kind of chronic illness, is very rough on anyone, let alone a kid trying to understand that. Like, I had to give up playing football. I loved playing football. I was amazing at ultimate frisbee. They were some of my favorite things to do because I loved being energetic. And unfortunately, I had to give that up because I couldn't do it anymore. And needing to learn that as a child and needing to give up things that you really care about is very, very hard. It's like losing a piece of yourself. But the biggest problem I had was explaining it to other people. Because again, you can't see it. Like, I look perfectly normal and healthy. Oh, yeah. Say hello to my hope tattoo. But I look perfectly healthy. I look fine. There's nothing wrong with me that you can see. I run around in tank tops and shorts all the time just because I can. Well, I don't run because I can't run. But you know what I mean. And it's heartbreaking to be told, even though you know that there's something wrong, and you know that you can't do things that you love anymore, being told that it's not really a thing, and that it doesn't matter that you have that, because to the person suffering with it, it really does. Sorry, this turned into a little bit of like a rant, but I've met so many friends through Sick Kids Hospital. It's the main children's hospital in Toronto. It's amazing. But I've met so many friends through there who have been through the exact same fucking thing. And we've all had the same experience of, we did nothing. We couldn't stand up for ourselves because there was nothing to stand up for. Like, I have a friend who carries around a walking cane. She doesn't need the walking cane, but she carries it because it's a visual marker to say this person has something wrong. It may not necessarily pertain to the walking cane, but she has an issue. And because she carries that around, nobody asks her. But unfortunately, a lot of people, myself included, don't want to do that because I don't want to have to pretend that I have something different from what I actually do. I don't know, it's very frustrating. But, anyways, if you have a chronic illness of any kind, or any kind of chronic disability, or even a disability in general, can you please comment on this video, because I want to talk to other people like me. I want to be able to meet other people like me. And just know that I'm not on my own, because anybody who's been through this type of shit knows that feeling alone is the worst part of it. Anyways, I'm Emily from Chronically Fabulous, and I hope you guys have a better day than I've been having.